everyone. Hello, Elizabeth. Um, Welcome to today's daily portrait practice. I have a new book, so this is the first time we are not sketching from the Eternal Song in the past week and a half. But Martina, who sketches with us every day, found a book because I have this really cool book of mugshots from the 1920s. And Martina was doing some research and was like, hey Dylan, check out this book. And so I got this book, and it's written by, curated by Babette Hines, who on Instagram is at the Found Photo. And Babette, I'm going to write to you and ask if you're happy for us to sketch from these found photos that you've found. It's such a beautiful book. A lot of the images are presented like in the original size, like photo booth size. And I haven't read it yet, but in the beginning it has a little introduction talking about like the history of the photo booth. I think I'll read it and then I'll let you know what it says. So yeah, we do daily portrait practice together here, and about to sketch right now, just before lunch. So yeah, let's do it. I have chosen this reference because this month I want to focus on values. That's my theme for the month, my mission. And I thought it was really interesting, the values set up here. And I want to focus on the face, and it's all really dark, which is interesting. And there's just a little bit of highlight in the glasses. So I thought I'm going to like focus on that. And I wonder if this is going to work. I'm thinking about just putting down like a big dark shape and then building up into that, because I had said yesterday when working on darker skin tones, when you're going from the white of the paper, it's so much harder to get there. It's not harder, well, it is harder because you need to do more to move away from the white of the paper. So I thought it'd be interesting to address that, and I really like the idea of exploring this, what is it called, low key value range, where it's the whole portrait exists in really dark values, not like my own face, which is like overexposed like this. Yeah, it's all just lit like really darkly somehow. Hi Cindy, hi Eddie, hello. Elizabeth, so you said on Discord, because I just shared this, everyone's welcome to join Discord. You just like, oh, this is going to be hard. It's going to be interesting. Let's see how we go with it. And I'm going to try and keep it to 10 minutes again today. I've been enjoying the 10-minute rhythm the past couple of days. In the past, I've often done 10-minute portraits, and it's been a while, and it feels good to be back working within that time constraint. So you can't see that text I put down here, but here you go. Yeah, there is a link to the book via Amazon, and you might be able to get a second-hand copy of the book. I got a second-hand copy of the book via Amazon. If you want to check it out, then the link is in there. Let's do it. Let's start sketching. How is this going to work? All right, so I have this idea about putting down the shape, but then it's going to be wet because I'll use ink. And I'll need to wait a bit for it to dry. But I feel like it would be helpful to start from a darker tone rather than leaving gaps of white in between, because the only white is the highlights. So maybe I'm going to put the timer on right now, and if you're watching the replay, please say hello, and thank you to whoever this is, and thank you to Babette Hines who put this book together. Those are the highlights. And then I'm going to see how this goes. I've got water, I've got a brush which is already inky. That's very dark. I'm always using this Pelikan Brilliant Black ink, and I've just diluted it. So I'm going to try and capture this shape and use that as like the base that I start from, which is a bit of a different approach. Reminiscent perhaps of last month, the drawing without line. I see I'm gonna have some issues with like the edge of the brush shape, but that's okay. There's gonna be some extra shapes which aren't actually, and the highlight on the nose, that's also kind of bright, so there's just so much ink on this brush that it's all really dark. But that's what I wanted to push, the idea of value. So we'll just see. We're just experimenting by starting really dark. I think maybe within the bottom edge of the frame of the glasses is also kind of bright, but just putting this down. How's everyone doing today? It's a new week. I have spent the morning looking for references for some tutorials of mine, which will be released next year. This is an odd kind of shape, but it could be just really interesting to start from here. And the references I was looking for, they had to like fit a specific kind of idea, not determined by myself, and there'll be more info on that sometime later this year. All right, I think I should let this dry, and then like work on top of it. I'll be able to draw on top of this once it dries, but now it's like I just spent 3 minutes making this shape, and I won't be able to draw on this. I've got to let it dry, but I will. I just got to send a message to Kira. I think I hear her summoning me to lunch. Hello Kitty. How's everyone? I've got to wait. Elizabeth, are you in the Netherlands too? Hoi, saying hoi. That's a nice Dutch sounding way to greet people. All right, this has to dry. He looks like Freddy Krueger now. It's about to change. Hope it's dry enough. But it's interesting, and something I mentioned from last month's practice of drawing without line. I often thought, oh, this would be like starting without line would be a really interesting way to begin, and then to build something on top of it. So that's kind of like what's happening here. And the paper is still wet. I feel like if I push too hard with the corner of the pen, it could tear the paper, but it's dry enough, and the ink is like set in place that I can like draw on top of it. This, yeah, I don't know, this wetness, I'm not sure it's doing any favors to what's on the other side of the paper, but we'll see. But I already am just getting a sense that this is a cool way to start, if like rather than starting from the white of the paper. That was 5 minutes. We'll do another 5. You're in the Netherlands too. Cool. All right. This is not like full black, but I'm gonna make it a bit darker. Lewis noticed something yesterday, watching the way I worked, that the ink seemed to be behaving differently than it had done in the past, which was an astute observation, and something that I've also noticed the past couple of weeks, that sometimes like I eased up on the way I was using the ink, because I had a couple of sketches I did where the ink just was bleeding out, and I was like, oh, how am I going to save this? And so I decided that starting light would be a way to maybe work around. So I've been starting with the ink wash, and interestingly, I now have a jar with diluted ink, and when I use the diluted ink, like the ink wash, that that doesn't give me as much pigment, as much ink to move around. So using the ink, I think that could be it, Lewis. Perhaps you're watching today. I think it's because the ink was not straight from the jar. It was not the full intensity of the ink. So I was not really able to borrow the ink from the dark shapes like I often like to do. That may have been the difference. So yeah, I think the past week I've often been starting with like an ink wash rather than there are a lot of pieces that I've done this year where I've done like the parallel pen drawing, and then I've taken the ink from the drawing and spread it out across the rest of the image, like to do the ink wash just from the ink that's already on the paper. And when I start with an ink wash rather than the full dark ink, that doesn't work so well. All right, this is looking interesting. Got a couple minutes left. Yeah, hoi is the Dutch equivalent of hi. And hoi in German is hay, as in, not hay as in hi, but hay that horses eat. And yeah, 2 weekends ago we were in the Netherlands, Kira and I. And op de fiets. And I said hoi. A lot of people, hoi, hoi. Just because it's nice to greet people. So I recognized your hoi. Yeah, so this is interesting because now it's already so dark because I started with so much ink in the beginning that I'm like building up darkness on top of darkness, which it feels like a really interesting way to be working. That now to have the achieve those brighter midtones, because here I see that I've made the highlights much darker. I can't get them back to that kind of brightness now, but I can make the other layer up ink, making the other midtone areas darker and darker, which will make the highlights look a bit more like highlights, or the midtones more like highlights, if that makes sense. I really like this. Like how dark it is. It's really, really interesting. And maybe, I wonder. So now that the paper's so wet, I can't really use the parallel pen into it because I fear it's gonna like damage the surface of the paper. But okay, that was 10 minutes. Now I'm gonna go straight, get my undiluted ink. To really go really dark where it's really dark. Because making like the hat, for example, really dark is going to make the skin tone seem lighter. So yeah, this has been a fun opportunity to think about values and the way we work with values, which was my theme for the month. But I've been thematically very kind of busy with the people that we've been drawing from the Eternal Song, and now this has been, I'd say, more of a focus on this idea of value, control, And I like that this is like a low key, is that what it's called? Low key, low range value, like really existing in the dark values. It's cool. So thank you everyone who's here. If you're watching the replay, put your drawing hand emoji in the chat. If you haven't yet, give me a thumbs up, like and subscribe to my channel. If you're new here, it's nice to have you here. There's a Discord server, the link is in the description, where you can get the reference. I share the daily reference there. And you can share your work. You can also share on Instagram and tag me. And yeah, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for sketching with me. I hope you all have a wonderful day. And see you again tomorrow. All right, that was it. Thank you, Mark. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being here. If you just joined right at the end, you can slide the slider back and it will take you to the beginning of the live stream and you'll be able to watch from the beginning. Yeah, thanks everyone. See you next time. Thank you, Babette, for making this cool book. I'm gonna post this and get in touch and see if Babette's happy for us to sketch for more of these passport photos. Because it's a very cool book. Here it is. Photobooth. There is a link to it in the description and it has like hundreds of Photobooth photos in it from back in the day. So it's pretty cool. Thanks Eddie, Kitty, Mark, Elizabeth, Cindy, anyone else. Dewey! Yeah, thank you so much for being here. See you later.